with the mission to keep as many men on as many guns for as long as possible. We called him Doc. Welcome to Combat Vet Vision. And now your host, Aaron Chief Seabird.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Hey, I appreciate everybody coming on, listening to the show. Today's show is really going to focus on my knowledge of President and CEO of Operation Silver Star, um, Richard Dela Cruz, who passed away this week. I got Michael Amato on deck with me today. We do a series together. We've done his story. We've done a series together of why the Brotherhood's so important. But he's going to talk too because I actually met Richard Dela Cruz through some connections. I met Michael Amato through this process, and we've gone through a lot. And Mike, thanks for being on the show too. And yeah, we'll get right to it. Well, I think he's got some food on order, but he'll be stepping in real quick shortly. But I just want to say, I posted a picture of Richard Dela Cruz, and some years back he actually lost his daughter Jenny to a car accident deal during Christmas time frame, and horrible loss. To lose Richard Dela Cruz, another horrible loss. Anytime we lose somebody, it's a horrible loss. But why such a big deal with Richard Dela Cruz is that this is where I talk a lot about where rubber hits the road, and Mike and I was talking a little bit about this before. About how how much Richard really kind of filled in the cracks with a lot of things. And, you got these little things that are kicking off. And a matter of fact, the reason why Operation Silver Star started was because he's got three sons that served in combat. One's a son-in-law, two of them that served. One lost his leg. When they came back and going through the process, he realized that there was a lot of things that were missing to really help these guys along. And Operation Silver Star was born to fill in some of the emergency needs that were necessary. But not only that, but Richard was a true humanitarian for veterans. He wasn't just some organization doing something. And there's plenty of organizations that are doing things and sending money, doing whatever they're doing, giving you a pair of shoes, whatever it is, even if you're missing legs, whatever the situation is, they're doing some stuff. However, this guy took it upon himself to really get to know you and do some stuff. Mike, elaborate a little bit about how you met him, all these cool things that what it meant to you.
Well, I met him through a buddy of mine that served with me. He got hit overseas, came home, and he was struggling for a little bit, needed a little bit of assistance. And he met Mr. Dela Cruz after about 8 months of him knowing him. I met him. He was over at his house checking on him, just seeing how he's doing. And he asked about me, and we talked. And I was kind of real lost cause at that point. I was doing a lot of stupid, foolish things. And he kind of just sat down with me, and he's like, "What's your story?" And it just kind of snowballed into a lot more, which we'll get into. But I mean, what this type of stuff that he did, you could call him for the smallest issues. He'd be like Google, and he'd figure it out for you. He would always look at it as, if I'm giving you something, I'm giving you a handout. To him, it wasn't a handout, because in his eyes, especially after seeing what his sons went through, he just always felt indebted to the world. And kindest man I've ever met. He'd remind you to be kind. He could calm you if you were sitting there pissed off, freaking out. He'd just sit there and talk to you, and he'd stay on the phone as long as you needed him. I mean, real good guy.
Yeah, and I just want to put out there right now, Delia Dela Cruz, his wife, and him put this organization together to make it happen. She's dealing with all these funeral arrangements, stuff like that. You can see in the show notes, they might need some help. You can see it on my webpage, on their webpage. Please, if you feel, donate some money, help them out with that, because they used a lot of that money to just really help, their own money to help veterans out. They weren't like a big corporation kind of deal, but they really did a lot. She's now standing person, just trying to make things happen. They have a lot of history with this flag in it. And, with the loss of their daughter, loss of him, it's a huge thing that she's undertaking right now. So, we decided to do this. I definitely would like to get her on later on to talk about the organization, talk about her, talk about him. Looking forward to that. But this is kind of just the two vets talking about what Richard kind of meant to us and what we've seen him mean to the other guys that we associate with. And me and Mike, we probably talked to, when Mike was here, but he went on the East Coast. I don't know how many you talked to still, Mike, but you talked to a lot of the guys. But we probably talked to about 40 vets every week that you were hanging around. You got to just be involved. I mean, we ended up talking about 40 of us randomly over a 2-week period. You probably run into about 40 different guys that maybe Richard had some dealing with some of these things and some of these situations.
Yeah, just a lot of he helped me so much. I felt like the need to volunteer back, and I would help out with the organization with a lot of the Home Depot projects that he would help set up, because there apparently was some red tape on getting that started for people. And he was just an amazing person. So you'd want to be around him. You wanted to feed off that energy, and his wife, she's amazing as well. I remember one day I was out there helping lay stone, and they had brought a bunch of food for this family. This was out in Temecula. And, the project kind of was slow and not being done as fast as possible. And he just kind of walked out there, and everybody that was tense and agitated, he eased it real quick. Not just with a bite of food, but I mean, just by reminding everybody why we're there, and the purpose of it all. And when it comes to other veterans that have ever met him or dealt with him or his wife or the organization, I'm going to reiterate it. Just like donate if you can, because right here is we lost a legend. The way I look at it, there's a lot of people, not just me, that are sitting here going, "Damn, we lost a good one," And I'm not blood related at all. I've met all of his sons, hung out with them, drank with them actually one night. And the tattoo I have on my forearm, his cousin, or Mr. De La Cruz's nephew, did. And it's such a great honor to know a guy like that. He kind of reminded me of why you serve, because a lot of times you get in dark places, and it's countlessly talked on your show about dark places where people go to. And he was that light always at the end of the tunnel, reminding you, keep going, so yeah.
Yeah, you talked a little bit about, he's like a father figure, because it's not like you can't call this guy and feel welcome. Hey, I got time for you. Oh, yeah, I got time for you. He's helped me out with multiple different things, to administrative reasons, to all kinds of things. With all the things that I do, and I'm a board member to Operation Silver Star, and I loved being and doing and helping this program, because I'm a fond lover of where the rubber hits the road kind of organizations. So I want to be able to express it. But this guy I knew very well. Richard was like a father to me as well, a mentor, um, a person I could talk to and give. And he didn't even serve, but he served in the law enforcement, category, and really just wanted to be a patriot of America and really reach out to the combat vets and do something that really mattered. And it still matters. And
you talk about his law enforcement. He was code enforcement, and he awesome guy. I told him one day, I said, "How can a guy as nice as you leave a ticket on my door? How can you be that guy, man?" Like, I didn't know those people had kind hearts, and he always would just laugh at it, But man, that guy, service never ended for him. He never served when it came to the military, but that doesn't matter. He served the military by serving veterans, and that there is more than you can imagine. I mean, as a father figure too, when it came down to it, he never dadded you. It's not like, "Hey, you're doing this wrong." It was, "Hey, come here. Sit down. Let's have a pastrami sandwich together, which is one of my memories of him, where he took me out just to sit down and we talked from every range of anything, and he just wanted to gauge where my attention was, so he knew where to tailor what I needed, and that's what made him so special. You don't get that in a lot of organizations. You get a phone call, oh hey, how you doing? Hey, all right, thank you for your service. Hey, we'll do this for you. Hey, okay. Hey, come fill this paper out. Stand in front of this camera. You know, I mean, he did a lot of fundraising all the time, and I know cameras were involved, but to him, it was nothing about anything of that nature to boost himself. Matter of fact, it was always about boosting the people around him. He was so awesome.
Yeah, and talk about the Home Depot program a little bit. That was a program that was kind of put together by Home Depot. They wanted to come into and work on houses and help the veterans kind of reorganize their housing and do some stuff. So the managers had these programs, and they could have so many per month or whatever. So Richard took it upon himself as the organization to kind of manage these and kind of put that word out. And so he would make it all happen. And Home Depot ended up working on a lot of people's houses, and they asked for volunteers. It was a great opportunity for us as veterans to give back too. And Mike's like, hey man, why don't you come down here and help me today? And I was like, oh man. So he's pushed me in that direction too. But because he helped you out, Mike, I remember, your car had some problems. It was like this crazy situation. You were like in dire need. Then you met me. Uh, you know, we moved you one time, and your path was kind of a really rough path. And look at you, look where you are now, man. Look, I mean, it's a whole, totally different book for you.
Yeah, every time where I literally, thought I didn't have one string left to pull on, he'd jump in, and or if he couldn't help me with like my car, I mean, or he'd turn around and show up with a moving truck. Hey man, I get it. You're having to bounce around because I mean, for a good solid 7-8 years, I was a damn gypsy. I moved. I would not stay anywhere more than 2 years. Period. I felt the need to get up and get away, but that was me dealing with PTSD, and I remember, I had a really bad breakup with a lady, and he showed up by himself, and I looked at him and said, "It's just me and you moving this stuff," and he said, "Yeah, buddy, don't worry about it. We're getting it done." Then I looked over at the moving truck and I was like, "Oh God, we did not need that big of a truck." He said, "Well, I just wanted to make sure we got it all in one trip," and that was his mentality. He cared that much. I mean, and the way you watch him not just with veterans, but you watch him with his family. We all, whether we're willing to admit it or not, we judge people, right? And when you're in a dark place, you're looking at everybody because you're like a pit bull in the back of a corner. And so you are judging the people helping you. That kind of sounds stupid, but if you know anything about psychology, you understand that it's pretty normal. And the way he was with his family was phenomenal. His sons are all amazing people, true gentlemen. His daughters, all ladies. There's no roughness other than being tough, being a true All-American, and not backing down from your pride of being an American. And the things that he did on a constant for me. I mean, there was some serious times where like I figured, I'm going to be homeless. Actually, just in the past recent few months, I've seen old posts on Facebook. Hey, I'm about to be homeless. Well, I wasn't because of him. He would step up and say, "Hey, nah, man, we got you." And it was just amazing. I mean, that's why to me he's like a father figure I never had, and able to keep so many other people. I know he helps so many other people just keep us going. And that's just awesome. That's so rare. There's so many people that are selfish. I've been selfish, Aaron. You've been selfish. We all make selfish choices. I've never known this man to be selfish. I mean, I remember once he had me in his living room and he kept getting up to serve me stuff. And I'm looking at him like, I don't need a damn thing. And no. He put his foot down and said, "No, you're a guest. You're awesome." And that would help fill a void in every vet's heart to know, because we feel like crap most days. We don't like ourselves. We don't love ourselves. We damage ourselves. And to have somebody like that remind you why you served, it's pretty beautiful.
Yeah, I've seen you come a long way, Mike. It's pretty awesome for sure. You know, Operation Silver Star is a great organization, and it has the people, and it had Richard Dela Cruz that made that difference. And there's a lot of organizations that I can talk about, but not anything more than that one when it comes to that caring concern. Um, other anything that makes you feel like no matter what happens, you have a battle buddy that's going to listen, or he's going to help find a solution, even if he doesn't. He's looking. He's um, when I didn't have time for certain things, I would call upon him, and those things would be met. Um, mainly this paperwork that I needed, and he produced a really awesome form that allows me to have letterhead for the veterans, so I can sign it and basically say that they participate in events that are related to combat vets and their issues. And it came together really nice, and so I really appreciate his efforts on just that alone. It's a small piece, but it matters because he cared when he built it.
Yeah, he was, it didn't matter what he was doing. He had pride in his work, but he was the definition of smooth as fast and fast as smooth. I've never seen that man run, but I'm sure in his heyday he could run. Man, that boy can get stuff done. I mean, I still laugh. I haven't even thought about it in forever, but I laugh at it though. And I always did about him being code enforcement. Blew my mind. But that's why he was so good with paperwork. He knew that paper had to look right, and he would show me things that hey, if you did this, maybe this will be, and it there's he's a great person. His family's awesome. I mean, they're the definition of an all-American family. The unity between them all, the zero looking down on if somebody is financially has less, they never would sit there and think less of any veteran for whatever or wherever they came from. They know that they served, that this is somebody that they felt could have been there, and from his words, he said, you could have been there next to my son, and you could have, like, how could I turn my back on you if you could have been the person that carried him when he got hit? These are words he said to me. Why would I let or drive by a veteran that needs help if I know I can help him? And the fact that he gave his own personal money up sometimes to help vets. Okay, I mean, this is the true definition of taking your shirt off your back and handing it to somebody else. This man would die with nothing and live in a cardboard box, but he would die with nothing but loyalty, which he has. He succeeded in the greatest thing. He'll never be forgotten. His service is why this show is right now being made, this episode. His service was that, what's the word? That deep.
Impactful. Deep.
Impactful for us. And I'm sure there's hundreds of other vets. I mean, I remember once I went somewhere in Temecula, and it was at this kind of like small little gala, and everybody was wearing nice clothes. I walk in there, I'm tattered to hell. I didn't realize there was a dress thing. He didn't say one word to me about wearing the wrong uniform, because it didn't matter about me wearing a uniform anymore. He said, "Here you go, man, sit down over there." And he didn't even put me in the back corner so nobody seen me. He made sure I was right there at the veterans table. We were all honored for our service, and he never stopped speaking on us. He never stopped caring. I mean, that's the greatest thing any man can do is because we're all going to die. You're not making it. You're not making it. You're not living forever. And sadly, the way he passed might be like he was stolen, that we could have gotten more time, but I smile at the fact of every moment I've had with him, how impactful it's been, and a lot of my good moments and a lot of my decisions were made by that light, and that was him and his organization. And I mean, I got involved in Warrior Belt, and I got involved in Warrior Belt because of Operation Silver Star. You know, I stayed in contact with him. I volunteered several times. I remember one, he laughed at me because a couple workers said, "Man, we messed up. We got all this stuff on the other side of this fence." And, you know, what did I do? I dropped down, low crawled up underneath that fence, handed it all over, went right back, covered in dirt. And he just was like, "You're a hard worker, ain't you?" You know, here's a sandwich. You earned it. And, man, just the amount of pride he instills in you to carry on, you know, I'll probably say that a billion times.
Yeah. I'll say, the fundraisers that he put together, the galas were epic. I mean, his wife, his daughters, whatever, they came up with these great gala type ideas that really kind of impacted the honoring of not just Operation Silver Star, but other organizations within the community that were doing incredible things. And, he highlighted it. He was part of, Warrior Built in a lot of ways. The PTSD Foundation of America. He would help, get vets to that, the warrior groups. We even had one time we were doing he even actually put together a PTSD expo in Temecula one time, and I participated in that. And it was a really interesting, concept of, getting these organizations together to kind of thrive and put together a good course of action. I wish it would have went a lot further, but you got our governments involved. He had really an awesome setup. Then, we also had a study from the Veterans Coalition, a study that went together, like how does we as veterans need to, how would we like to have our medical information given to us? And, telepathy was not an option, but I tried it anyway. But it was a study, and we had to answer like these 5 questions over and over again from different angles. And, it took about 18 months to complete. But it was a great time. Richard came in as a stakeholder to kind of answer some of the questions from his perspective, what he saw that was missing, gaps, and obviously knowing all these cracks from seeing what has happened. And, to crisis situations that he's had to handle. He had a lot of different information from a perspective that you really only get if you're part of our work, our network, our history, our time at a table where very few are invited. So, it was great to have Richard as that team player, that guy that just was there for everybody.
You know, I'll use a certain instant where he really stepped in and kind of helped government overreach on a veteran. He, because of his code enforcement, he was skilled in knowing exactly when somebody's doing the wrong thing. That was government. He had that experience, very well. And Ryan Price was dealing with a serious problem through no fault to his own, but to a contractor that he had hired to build a wall in front of his property. And I was living there with Ryan at the time, and we'd wake up in the morning, drink our coffee, and we'd see this guy putting on another ticket on the wall and knocking on the door. Guy almost bear maced a veteran's PTSD dog. How stupid is that if that was on the news, right? Well, as I got heated and ready to fight this guy, to where he was now showing up with real cops every day to put this ticket over this wall, stating it was gaudy by San Jacinto city rules, right? And it wasn't gaudy; it was actually ugly wall, but whatever. There were some permits that weren't done, and the fines were going up in over thousands and thousands and thousands. And it was ridiculous. And who could pay that? Who could pay that? What veteran, whether or not you got money or not, would even want to pay that? And he stepped in, and I was angry as all hell, and he just told me, relax, no need to worry anymore. I go, what do you mean? Like, they're messing with a veteran that lost his legs. This is ridiculous, and he said, no, it's done, it's over. I'm going to take care of it. The problem's now mine. And that's how he was when he helped you. He would take the problem off your chest. His goal was to see you breathe better. You know, if you called him and said, man, I'm going to starve next month. And he'd be like, well, I've got some funds. Let me bring you some food. He'd get in his car and he'd drive and he'd get you what you need, you know. And what he did for Ryan, he saved it. I mean, the guy was looking at over $15,000, I want to say it was at some point, because they were going to do the demo and all this other crap. The city was. And he had it halted and he was able to keep his wall, you know. So the scope of what he did is, you can't even say in 40 minutes. You know, his expertise were just managing people, really, and stress of people. I was amazed on a constant how he was able to handle dealing with, first of all, my life, which my life is horrific, and then dealing with 100 other people like me, you know, or 1,000 more, and then putting on a tuxedo and, you know, just smiling and showing you what love really is. I mean, I think that's his greatest thing he's ever done, is showing people how to truly love, you know, your fellow person. You know, the love he shared for his wife was amazing. It still is amazing. They'd look right at each other, talk trash to each other, smile, giggle all day at each other, hug, kiss. I mean, you look at any picture of them, that ain't them posing. You know, it doesn't matter if they had a bunch of cameras in front of them. There was nothing fake about that. And that was one of the most beautiful things about it, because that energy, you know, positive energy like that rubs off on people. You know, it is just like how cancer is dangerous. It is that way infectious on the next person, you know. And he was amazing and beautiful for that. I mean, I don't say many guys are beautiful, but that man was beautiful for the way he treated people, you know. And it's awesome. It's just awesome.
It definitely is, you know. And we did a show, you know, Richard came on. He actually did the Operation Silver Star. He did a show on my podcast, Combat Bad Vision, I want to say February of 2020. I've recently shared that. You can actually see it on Combat Bad Vision. You can find it. Richard Delia Cruz, Operation Silver Star. This one also dedicated to him. So these are going to be kind of paired together in a lot of ways. But I would say look at that show, because he talks about the foundation, he talks about his sons, he talks about his life, he talks about a lot of really cool, interesting things, and why he and Delia have found this gap that needed to be filled, and they filled it, and they made it their kind of life, obviously the rest of their lives, in Richard's case, of helping our veterans out. And you know, it's just strange, because there's a lot of people that need help, but they don't know it. It's not necessarily that they need help; they just need support. And sometimes that support is like that ear. So not only was he an ear, I mean, he found that money or a fridge. You know, there was times he would task me out with finding some stuff, and we would go about it. Then other veterans would kick in; they'd go get some food or something from some organization, or you know. And I lost two really great buddies this year. Well, actually, yeah, one, no, this year. Yeah. Both of them died in this year. So, um, and it's just really sad to lose somebody of these calibers, of these guys that I lost this year, are really where the rubber hits the road. And, you know, Richard really he would lend that ear. He would do all kinds of amazing things. And, but he would task us out, and we would come up with solutions. I mean, I remember even Kevin Frantum getting a refrigerator and making it happen for some guy, you know, some time ago, and it worked out. We were working on trying to buy a refrigerator, but he found it, you know. And you know, we utilize a lot of resources together. We really form a really good element of support for ourselves. We get to see it in play. We get to see it work. And we get to save somebody from feeling like the end of their life is right there, because they can't provide a refrigerator for their family, or something, you know, just as an example.
Yeah, he's left a legacy that is amazing. You know, I know in every action of every Operation Silver Star person that works there, member of it, that ever volunteers from this moment on, will not just have the care and love for veterans, but they'll have what he cared in their minds and in their hearts of why we are out here doing what we're doing. So when the going gets tough, it'll be a lot even easier. And that's what made him awesome. The fact that even though he's gone, that him is still out there, and it'll never go away. Not just through his children, his eulogy. I don't. Whoever's typing it, man, you better be willing to type for a long time, because that guy has done a lot. If we reached out to every vet he's ever helped and how it's changed their lives and put that in that eulogy, you'd have more than a book. So he's just done so much, and there's that's one thing about Operation Silver Star. I'll say flat out that they are not an organization that hoards anything. They get it, they want it out. It does not need to sit in a storage facility. It does not need to be in somebody's house. If say he got 10 fridges, those 10 fridges are going to find a place where they're going to help somebody. Every single time he's done something, it was about getting out. Number one thing was, we ain't got enough. Well, that's because he found a way to get it out the door faster. He was too good at what he did, and too good of a father, too good, of a husband, just too good as a friend. This guy was too good, and I almost feel like I didn't deserve him a lot of the times, knowing, especially a lot of the dark things I've done and places I've been in my life. But that's why, I have no problem talking about a man that literally was the light at the end of the tunnel from time to time for me. He was a reminder of positive choices will create a positive outcome. You think because, no positive action goes unpunished. Well, that man had no problem getting hit with being attacked for being positive. He didn't care. And the amount of weight he took off my chest, I've been thinking about it since I said, hey man, we need to do this show, about how much of an impact he actually was on my life. You look at red tape and the paperwork, and you look at stressing over food, and all these things, right? That's why the best example is Google. He is Google. He became that. He became something that you could ask him about anything, and he would. If he didn't know the answer, he was true on finding the answer for you. If he couldn't do it himself, he'd find somebody that could. He would not give up on you. He would message you, hey, it's been a week. I'm sorry. I'm just letting you know I'm still working on it. He was always in contact. I've never met a better communicator, period. That's why, I'm proud to say that I knew this man. I knew his family. I know his family. And that I'm amazed at what he's accomplished in his life. It's awesome. You rarely see this. Nobody can live up to his standard. Period. Nobody can. That's a lot of weight to bear, and he weighed it like it was nothing. He wore it like it was nothing. And yeah.
Yeah, Mike, I just want to, kind of go back to some of the things that you said that, as veterans, we kind of feel like we don't deserve some of these things. And there's a lot of things that come our way sometimes. And we're like, hey, that's for the next guy. That's for the next guy. And it's one of those things where you can't always be that. You have to be the guy that, hey, we will probably give this to you, but at the last minute, if we have to pull you, will you be heartbroken? Because I need somebody to fill this seat. And I can't have all these vets just telling me it's for the next guy, because then the seat goes empty. So, and that happens a lot because we as veterans don't always take the time to ask for that support and get it. And it doesn't have to always be money, and it doesn't always have to be a product, and it doesn't have to be this, but sometimes that comes up. And, if you need it, take it, but let the organization know, hey man, if you got to pull me out of this seat, pull me out. But I don't want to take it if somebody really needs it. It's one of those things that you said. And I think, Richard was really good about making you feel good about getting some support and help. He was very gentle with that and made you feel like, hey, I know you feel like you don't deserve it, but we have this opportunity. We're going to present it, and you really need to. I see that you have this.
You did deserve it. You did.
Yeah.
It was. He'd sometimes look right at you and go, Nah, I'd take it if I were you. Like, it kind of lets you realize your situation, and that's where, he'd father you in a positive way. It wasn't ever to bring you down. Like, hey, yeah, this is why you need it because you're a screw up. No, it was, this is why you need it because this is just a small, minute problem in your life. Your story isn't yet to been fully told. You made it back, so you've got a lot more writing to do. This was how he was, how he treated day to day life. I mean, he was all about it. Smiles. Smiles was him. Bringing smiles back to people, bringing the old way of loving your neighbor and loving those people that did for you. And I know a lot. Been asked this question as a veteran, like, did you really care about me? I mean, vets say that. Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to care about the dummy down the street, unexpectedly with nothing in return. You have to expect nothing when you come home. My grandfather looked right at me. He said, don't expect shit. That's what he said. Don't expect nothing because nobody owes you nothing. You did a service. Now, that means all these organizations that are running around, and especially, Mr. Delia Cruz and Operation Silver Star, how they go the extra mile, that means they're doing it because their heart is telling them to do it. They're not doing it because it's something that Americans just need to do. No. We don't need to do anything for our veterans, technically. The VA's there, and that's it, right? But Operation Silver Star said, hey, no, we're going to go the extra mile for you. We're going to make sure that your kids have food, or you're disabled and you need a place to hang out in your backyard with your family. We're going to make sure Home Depot takes care of that for you. We're going to make sure this problem is there for you. The last communication I had with him, I want to say, was over taxes. I don't want to pay this taxes. I want to get away from it, right? He said, I totally agree, and you shouldn't have to pay nothing, but this is what I found. This is what you got to deal with, and I said, okay. And that's what made him awesome. He was doing something that people don't have to do and doing it, and it filled his heart. I mean, very rarely do you ever see somebody that wakes up day in, day out and is giving themselves up for somebody else, a bunch of people he doesn't really know, but he would take the time to get to know you. There's a lot of these huge organizations out there that look at veterans just as another number and a mill grind to say, hey, we helped them, right? Well, he got to know you. He wanted to know your story. He'd spend that time. He wanted to know you by, as soon as he saw you, hey, that's so-and-so. I know that guy. That guy served, he did this, and we were young men returning home from war and having that respect. And honestly, most of the time in America, you don't get that until you're old, like these World War II guys, Korea guys, Vietnam guys, where people starting to ask their story, and they're sitting there like, what? You care? He was like, no, we're breaking that mold of this old way of doing it. We're going to do it like this. And that's what made Operation Silver Star so special, and still is to this day, and made him just so awesome. One of the many things.
Yeah, Mike, the other thing I want to say is thanks for hitting me up, man. As soon as you found out he passed, you're like, hey, let's do a tribute deal to him from our veteran perspective. It's a great idea. I didn't want to do that by myself. I'm glad you came on, and what a perfect guy to do it, because we met each other because of that. Any last words to just kind of cap off that, Richard, Operation Silver Star, amazing organization
veteran,
and people.
I don't mean to cut you off. If you're a veteran,
no, go ahead.
And you were helped by him, helped back, his family lost the head of the table. In America, we don't have kings and we don't have queens, but if we were to have a king, he'd have been a great one. So, I mean, that's, I earlier today had to go run and do a chore, and I thought of him, and I actually had a tear come down my eye. And it's been 3 fucking years since I've cried over anything, and that's just a really good guy that, you're going to miss, whether you cared to want to spend every day around him or not. The things that he did for us and the veteran community is beyond comparison to the next. I mean, a lot of us just needed somebody to answer the call, or needed food, or needed help with paperwork, or just, God, fuck, it doesn't matter what it is. So help back. Help his family, put him to rest the right way. He deserves it. And just know this story, man. Know that there is people out there like him.
Well, thanks, Mike. Yeah, Richard Dela Cruz, rest in peace, brother. It's amazing that what you brought to the table, what I've shared with you, what you've shared with me, and the amazing things that have come because of you and your organization and Delia. I'm sorry for the loss of your daughter. You do get to see her, so strength and honor, buddy. Hey, this is Aaron Siebert, retired Navy chief. Lucky to be alive after being hit with a mortar round. This is my show. This is about our opinions, our lives, the situations that come up. And this show is dedicated to Richard Dela Cruz from Operation Silver Star and the amazing things that he does. Strength and honor. Out.